For a few years in the 1970s, the Mr. Asia syndicate made millions.
Heroin creates its own market. It acts like a form of plague.
Until jealousy, betrayal and murder brought it all crashing down.
Clark would have threatened him. Go and kill him. If you don't, I'm going to kill you and your wife and your son.
This is Mr. Asia, A Forgotten History. All episodes now available on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Let's get you stateside with our US sports expert, Leon Busby, who joins us now. Leon, thanks for your time. Good afternoon.
Hey, Pine, it's great to be back as always. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's dive straight into it.
Yeah, why not, mate? Let's go with the NFL draft. I want to get to the NBA playoffs, but let's start with the NFL draft, which is basically ongoing as we speak. Maybe to start with, Leon, can you just explain to us how the NFL draft actually works?
Yes, a bit of background for your listening audience. So first held in 1936, it's in its 90th year. The NFL's draft is the most highly anticipated player recruitment event anywhere in team sports. Basically how it works is each team is given a position in the drafting order in reverse order relative to its record the previous season, which means that the team with the worst regular season record picks first and the Super Bowl champion last. From this position, the team can either select a player or trade its position to another team for other draft positions, a player or players, or any combination thereof. The round is complete when each team has either selected a player or traded its position in the draft. Now, certain aspects of the draft, including team positioning and the number of rounds in the draft, have been revised since its creation, but the fundamental method has remained the same. Currently, there are 7 rounds taking place in Wisconsin this year, home to the historical Green Bay Packers, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of before. The 2025 draft will see 257 players chosen. The original rationale in creating the draft was to increase the competitive parity between the teams, as the worst team would, ideally, be able to choose the best player available. One of the big factors today is the importance of full-time scouts who provide detailed, in-depth reports on prospective players entering the league.
Yeah, the rationale's good, isn't it? It helps, I guess, the teams, the weaker teams get the better players, or that's the theory anyway. Does it always work that way? How important is getting your draft picks right if you are one of the teams down the bottom to try and get yourself back up?
Yeah, so as I alluded to just previously, Piney, the draft is intended to provide greater parity in terms of leveling out the playing field. So in that respect, it's vitally important for teams to get their picks right for their franchise and to be more competitive all around. And it's a better product for the viewing audience. It's also worth mentioning, Piney, that for the players themselves, hoping to be drafted this weekend, if you're fortunate enough to be taken by a team, it's literally a life-changing moment. As a professional athlete, particularly in the NFL, you and your family are set for life financially with generational wealth. So it's almost akin to winning the lottery.
All right, so tell us about the top few picks this year and if there were any surprises among them.
Yes, in the first round there were 32 picks. As expected, University of Miami quarterback Cameron Ward was the number 1 overall pick taken by the Titans. He's expected to make a big difference to Tennessee's pass game, which has struggled in recent years. Next name off the board was Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter, who is an exceptional talent on both sides of the ball. The former Colorado Buffalo is a two-way athlete and very unique in that he plays both offense and defense. He goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and rounding out the top 3, the Giants named Penn State linebacker edge rusher Abdul Carter to their roster. Like the first 2 picks, he's going to make a huge difference to New York's defense up front of the trenches. On a personal note for you, Piney, I know your son's a Minnesota fan, and his team selected well, drafting 5-star recruit and former Ohio State Buckeyes guard Donovan Jackson. The new Viking recruit is fresh of a national title and will add much-needed steel up front to an already impressive offensive line. Now, you mentioned their surprises. Now, I'm glad you asked, Piney, because the biggest story coming out of the draft this year so far is the non-selection of a certain individual player. Teammate to Travis Hunter and former Colorado Buffalo star player Shedeur Sanders was expected by most mock drafts to go in the first round by teams that were looking for depth at quarterback. Now, surprisingly, he was passed up by no less than 5 teams at picks 3, 6, 7, 9, and 21. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to why his stock fell so badly. But that aside, he was expected to go early in round 2 earlier today. Now, as we speak, well into the third round, and hard to believe his name's still on the board, as he was also a Heisman Trophy finalist this year. That's incredible. That some of your listening audience may be familiar with Shadua's last name. His father is Pro Football Hall of Famer and current Colorado head coach Deion Sanders. If we consider past history, Piney, and just how unpredictable the NFL draft is, here are a few examples. In 2022, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy was the final pick at number 262, unfortunately being tagged Mr. Irrelevant. Now, he led his team to the Super Bowl the following year. In 2018, two-time regular season MVP and Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson was passed by multiple teams before Baltimore, who had earlier passed on him, drafted him 32nd at the end of round 1. And by far the biggest selection or non-selection in NFL draft history was in the 2000 NFL draft. Now, a lot of your listeners will definitely have heard of this guy. Taken off the board in round 6 and selected at number 199 by the New England Patriots, a quarterback by the name of Tom Brady. As they say, the rest is history. The unpredictability of the draft is what makes it so compelling and a fascinating watch, Piney. Even
Absolutely.
as we speak, it's well into round 3 and there's more drama to follow over the next couple of days, Piney. Reality TV at its best, if you ask me.
Absolutely. I can hear it in your voice. Better than any Love Island or any of these other reality shows, the NFL draft. Right. I know you've also had divided focus because the NBA playoffs are on. 8 teams from the Eastern Conference, 8 from the West in first-round matchups. Best of 7. We'll get through as many of these as we can. Some of the games are ongoing at the moment. Let's start in the East. The top seeds in the East, the Cavs up against the Heat, who must have gotten through the play-in because they finished 10th in the regular season, but tied up at 1-1 after the first 2 games, with Game 3 tomorrow back in Miami. Okay, so I don't normally correct you, Piney, but actually the Cavaliers, the number 1 seed over the number 8 seed Heat, hold a 2-0 advantage in Game 3 tomorrow. So, gotcha. Okay, good. Well done.
Yeah, no worries. I'm happy to do that. Cleveland should easily wrap up the series in 4 or 5. They've got the second best regular season record and the best road record of any other team in the league this year.
Let's go to the Celtics, who finished second in the Eastern Conference. Pretty sure that they were 2-0 up, although Game 3 has just finished in Orlando. They're up against the Magic, and the Magic have won a tight one, 95-93. So that makes it 2-1 to the Celtics after 3 games, I think.
Yeah, so the number 2 Celtics against number 7 Magic. Boston are the defending champions. They should wrap the series up in 5, even though they dropped today's game. But that said, their finals experience and a deeper bench should see them overcome the inexperienced Orlando from here on in.
All right, Bucks Pacers. Pacers were 2-0 ahead going into Game 3, which was in Milwaukee. But I think, again, the Milwaukee Bucks, helped by the home crowd, no doubt, have picked up a win there. You still back the Pacers over the Bucks, or is this one a bit harder to pick?
Yeah, so the number 4 Pacers against the number 5 Bucks, as you said, the Bucks managed to pick up the game today. But if you look at the depth of the teams, Indiana they've been the more consistent team throughout the regular season, and they have the edge should they take the series, even though they lost today. However, Piney, the biggest storyline from this is that there are underlying rumors that superstar for the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I always have trouble pronouncing his name, affectionately known as a Greek freak, he may move on at the end of the season. He's one of the most dominant players in the association, but is hungry for another ring. And unfortunately, the Bucks aren't in the conversation right now as a legitimate championship contender for him. So, yeah, there's a lot of rumors swirling that he may move on to another team.
All right, final game in the East, or final matchup, is Knicks-Pistons. Knicks 2-1 ahead. They've had 3 games here. Game 4 is on Monday back in Detroit. Knicks to go through in 5 or 6 games here?
Yeah, so the 3rd-ranked Knicks against the 6th-ranked Pistons. In the Eastern Conference, this is probably the most even series in the East. So it's a hard one to pick, but I'm going to give New York the slight edge as they have home court advantage should it go to a series deciding Game 7.
Let's go to the Western Conference. Clippers, Nuggets. Clippers lead 2-1 with Game 4 tomorrow. This is the 4v5 matchup. I guess of all of them, when 4 plays 5, it's probably the hardest one to pick, isn't it?
Yeah, as you know, I'm a bit of a Nuggets fan, but unfortunately for Denver, they've been through a bit of change recently. The surprise firing of their head coach. They're playing against a form team of the competition, and despite having the best player in the league, I don't see the series going their way, so I expect the LA Clippers to wrap up the series sooner than later, yeah.
The other LA side, the Lakers, they're in action as we speak, actually, in Game 3 of their series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The series tied at 1 apiece. The Lakers narrowly ahead in the second quarter. Lakers 3rd seed, Timberwolves 6th. So Lakers eventually to go through, do you think?
Yeah, the series could go either way, Pine, even probably to 7 games. On paper, you'd have to lean towards LA with LeBron and Luka, even though the Timberwolves do have some star players. But if you look at the roster, LA have the much deeper roster. And if it does go to a deciding game, I think I'll lean with the Lakers here in a close series.
All right, Grizzlies Thunder. This is one-way traffic. Oklahoma City Thunder 3-0 ahead after 3 games. Game 4 is in Memphis, but the Thunder going to sweep this, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it's time to get the broom out, Piney. OKC should wrap the series up tomorrow in a 4-game sweep. Memphis had the worst regular season record coming into the postseason, whereas the Thunder had the best regular season record and are looking ominous. I'd be very surprised if OKC don't come out of the Western Conference and make the NBA Finals this year.
All right, and the final matchup is the Golden State Warriors against the Houston Rockets, tied at 1 apiece after 2 games. Game 3 is tomorrow. Which way do you see this one going?
Yeah, finally, out of all the round 1 series, this will be the most compelling to watch and the closest. You have championship pedigree and outside shooting and future Hall of Famer Steph Curry and Golden State up against the physical inside game of Kiwi Steven Adams Houston. I can certainly see this going to 7 games and the hardest series to pick a winner. However, I'm going to lean in favour of Golden State because of their championship DNA pedigree and their finals experience.
Great to get your expertise, Leon, covering off so much basketball while you're also keeping your eyes on the NFL draft, pronouncing names correctly and even correcting me. So I think we'll give you an A+ for today, mate. Thanks for joining us with your stateside segment as always.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on today, Piney. A lot to digest, and I look forward to sharing my insights with you and your audience again real soon. Have a great day, mate.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.